live. This is WMMA Fighters presented by Combat News, and I have Thyme Doonkeen on with me tonight. How you doing, Thyme?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Thank you so much for being on here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, for sure. So, if you wouldn't mind, you do a lot of things. So, if you wouldn't mind, just kind of walk us through a little bit, about what you're doing, what got you into it, and we'll just go from there.
So tonight we're having weigh-ins for C3. It's an organization in Oklahoma. So we have weigh-ins and then we have the fights tomorrow. So I do C3 3 or 4 times a year. I also do WCF and Tribal MMA. Tribal MMA has done MMA and Muay Thai, but for the most part I do a lot of amateur Muay Thai.
Okay.
The amateur Muay Thai, I started out as a judo girl. So I've always been a judo girl, and deep down it's my real passion. But I love the striking aspect. It's so much fun. And, I think that draws in more people that wouldn't be MMA fans necessarily. Just like the Cyborg the Cyborg fight. When you see fights like that and you see, when you see them, they're most of the time striking. And I think that draws in a whole nother crowd. We were watching the fights. I have a bunch of friends that aren't seasoned with MMA. They don't know a lot. And so we were watching the John Jones fight, and I was like, just wait till he gets on full mount. And they're like, well, we don't know what that means, but he has him pinned. Right. So, there's a lot of people like that. Whenever I watch fights with my friends, whenever girls stand and bang, they're always more excited. They yell and cheer. Mm-hmm. So it is exciting to watch girls box. I think that's why I like the amateur Muay Thai so much.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you run Tribal MMA, right?
Right.
And you are affiliated with, or I don't know if affiliated is the word, or you take part in so many different things. So what was your, I can definitely tell you love Muay Thai, and there's been a lot of talk about it becoming an Olympic sport. I think would be amazing. So yeah, what are some of your thoughts on that?
Well, as far as an Olympic sport, we want it to be an Olympic sport, so we've got a long way to go. Mm-hmm. We went to the World, 6 months ago. When we went to the Worlds, we went against people in Thailand and people in Russia, and these people had 300 fights compared to our people who are seasoned. In America, we call them seasoned when they've got 20 fights, and most of the time they say, okay, well, I've got 18 fights, I'm going to go ahead and go pro. But over there in other countries, 200, 300 fights is kind of like boxing. So they're one up on us right now. So it's my responsibility as a promoter to make sure that there's a safe platform so that people can come and showcase their Muay Thai, so that we can develop it to an Olympic sport, and America would be, the team to beat.
Right. I think that would be huge, and I think that would be that would draw some serious, ratings. That's what it's all about, right? Ratings and
how excited,
Yeah, it would add a whole new dimension, I think, to the Olympic Games, and I think so many people who've never heard of this before, they tune in and be like, hey, what's this? And they check it out, and it could have a huge ripple effect. It could go into MMA, it could go into other things, and it could help the sport of Muay Thai itself to grow.
Well, right now, it's such a hard time. As a promoter, I want to help these amateurs, because we want to create a safe platform so that they can showcase their talent, but also so that they can develop a fan base. Mm-hmm. So in the future, you get on a lot of cards, and I'm not going to say any names. I like everybody in Oklahoma, but you get on some cards, and they say, well, how many tickets can you sell? Well, most of the time, people don't have time to sell tickets. They're in the gym, 10 hours a day. They're either, staying in shape, they're on the mat, they're, they don't have time to go out and network. Half the time, they don't even have social lives. So for us to tell these people that they need to go out and sell tickets, it's kind of ridiculous. So it's up to us to put on safe fights that are insured. Insured, that's a big deal. so that we can have fans that say, oh, I saw so and so and he kicked ass. I'm going to come back and sorry, I did it.
No,
I'm
you're
going to
fine.
come back to watch him again. We've got a couple people like that here in Oklahoma that every time they fight, we know that they're going to show up and they're going to show out. Win, lose, or draw, they're going to raise the roof.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
so we develop a fan base. We can also get these people sponsorships because it's hard for these people to train like they should for the fights that we want them to take, the high caliber fights. Whenever we tell them they need to sell tickets, they need to stay in the gym, they need to develop a fan base, and they still have to work to pay their gym fees.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's rough. I mean,
Rough.
that is rough.
It's a rough life for amateurs, and it's not like it used to be in the older days when Olympians, they were the cream of the crop, and now it's not seen as prestigiously as it once was. We don't take care of our athletes like we used to.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a great point. And I mean, I love your passion for the sport and helping these fighters out. And I like that as a promoter. That's very important. And I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think a promoter cares about, like you said, safe fights. You want them to be competitive, obviously, and just great matchups, and
Right.
to help grow, because I think those are some of the biggest traits that help something grow, I think.
Right. Right. And matchmaking is such a pain in the butt. It's a rough life. I mean, I've had calls at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and you won't believe. I mean, they're telling me that I need to help them get on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I need to do this. I'm just a matchmaker. You have a manager for this. So it's crazy, but I mean, it's a lot of fun. And every fight I say, I've had 32 fights now. Every fight I say, you know what, this is the last one. That's it. I'm done. I'm not doing fights anymore. And then I have an idea, and I put them together, and I see two people get in the ring, and they bang it out, and I see the crowd, and I see the hype, and it's almost like I want to live in that moment forever.
Right.
So I think I'm going away anytime soon, even though I want to say, that's it. I'm done. I just love it so much. And then I'm always chasing that high,
Right.
I'm an MMA crackhead.
MMA crackhead. That's perfect.
High.
That's going to become a thing now. I'm definitely I'm writing that down.
Oh no, I'm gonna have to copyright it.
Yeah, you need
My-
to. I'm writing that
I'm
down.
gonna move up.
Yeah, I will definitely when I post this on YouTube, I will shout you out as the MMA crackhead for sure. That's
Thanks.
awesome.
My parents will appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. They'll be so proud. So, kind of growing up, were you? Did you play sports? I mean, did sports always interest you? And at what point did you realize that this was for you?
I played every sport that I could possibly play, but I've never really been real competitive myself. I mean, I played volleyball, I played basketball. I got hurt playing volleyball, but I played basketball, I did judo, I played softball. But my dad was a professional wrestler when I was a kid, and this was back in Junkyard Dog and Jimmy Hacksaw, Jim Duggan. All these people were people I grew up with. I knew Ric Flair, and I knew Hulk Hogan when he was with WWE, and I've met all these people, and my dad would have practices because we had some land, and we'd put mattresses out there, and they would do practices. So I knew who was going to win the next week. I knew what time it was, but in the moment, I would get so upset because they were always over the top. My dad one time went under the ring and cut his head with a razor blade, to make it look like the guy had put chains across his forehead. And it was one of our best friends. I call him my uncle still. So I was so mad that I threw my Coke all over my uncle. I was 7 or 8. And so I went and traveled around with my dad. My dad did wrestling my whole life, and then when I was older, he went to Olympic trials for judo in '98. Mm-hmm. He also went to in '76 for freestyle wrestling. and my uncle was a world-class power lifter. So sports has always been in my makeup, in my family.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. You can just feel the passion. It's awesome. So let's talk about this Cyborg loss.
Okay.
So what did you first of all going into it? Did you have Cyborg winning?
Well, she's kind of she's not really a well-rounded fighter. I thought Cyborg was going to win because, for 12 years people have been dodging her. She's been the one to beat all the time. And the fact that she went in there and she lost as fast as she did. But the thing that I liked the most about the Cyborg fight, Ronda Rousey I looked up to her, and she was one of my favorite fighters for a long time. But after she lost, that second time, she just kind of slithered away and didn't come back, and that really put a bad taste in my mouth. The fact that Cyborg was there at the media right afterwards, and she was talking about it, and she was like, there's nothing to define me. I'm going to be back, and I'm going to be better than ever. I have a whole new respect for Cyborg, and I follow her on Instagram. I like her.
Mm-hmm.
But now I like her even more because she lost so classy.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a classy winner as well.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. I wasn't surprised. Like in oh wow, she's doing this. I was surprised just that it was happening. The whole thing was shocking.
Yeah.
Just because I think, like you said, how quick it happened. I think that was crazy. I mean, when
and then she clipped her.
Yeah.
That was another thing. Kind of crazy.
Clipped,
another thing that surprised me that night, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, was Megan Anderson getting that win. That we should talk about that. Megan Anderson should not have won. It should have been an NC. That should have been a no contest all day.
Yep.
I would have been pissed to win like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or lose like that, because she did eye gouge the girl. You saw it on the replay.
Yeah, that was weird. And, I'm kind of like, don't know what the term, but I hate seeing bad things happen to Kat, She's been through so much. and ever since she came back, she's been doing so well. So you like you say, you hate to see it go out like that. That was just ridiculous.
She probably would have beat Megan Anderson. Megan Anderson is one of the biggest girls in MMA, but she doesn't explode. She doesn't know her explosive power. So she always kind of stifles it a little.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that, definitely. So, that the Cyborg thing, when she got clipped that first time, I mean, she got clipped within 12, 15 seconds. And she kept bull rushing in. I mean, that's what kind of shocked me a little bit.
Right.
Nunes has reach, and reach is only dangerous if the fighter knows how to use it, right? Nunes knows how to use her reach. And so to me, to see Cyborg continue to run in like that kind of blew my mind a little bit.
Well, but Cyborg is only an offensive fighter.
That's true.
And I think now she's going to realize that defense is where it's at also. I mean, sometimes when you can't put someone down, you have to, you might have to play out the 3x3s.
Right.
That's 5s, whatever it is at the time.
No, that's a good point. But yeah, that was shocking, but it wasn't at the same time. How she handled it was awesome. I truly believe that the fact that they're questioning a rematch just baffles me.
Yeah, I don't think a rematch, but I also don't think, even with this loss, I still don't think a lot of people are going to get in the ring with Cyborg.
No.
I mean, she was exposed, but every dog has her day.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that anyone can beat Cyborg. I mean, she's still the one to beat. But Nunes she's pretty good.
Yeah. Nunes showed. Everybody knows she's for real, right? I mean, nobody at bantamweight is gonna beat her. I'm sorry.
Right.
And I don't see anybody at featherweight either right now. And like you said, I mean, Nunes solidified what we all knew in the first place, but a lot of fans, I don't know why so hesitant. I was one of them to declare her as, okay, she's one of the best ever.
I was one of them too.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm just being honest. You're just being honest.
Nobody would stand with her. Nobody would get in the ring with her hardly. And every time they did, I was even thinking about retiring at one point because they couldn't get matches for her.
Right. Yeah, that was crazy.
I
Yeah.
love WMMA, and I think it's come so far.
Oh, yeah.
It's so much progression. And when you see people like Nunez that comes in with their striking and their boxing, man, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I like the legs. Another kickboxer that I like, and she's from Oklahoma. Her name is Christina Williams.
Yep.
She was an amateur. She had my 135 title belt.
Yes.
Yeah, she fought Jessica Sotak for that belt. And it was a decision, and it was a good fight.
Yeah.
I still have it on my phone. I still have the footage. It was the best fight I've ever seen in person. And even as a matchmaker, I knew I put it together, but I was honored to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was one of those fights like, I don't know who isn't here, but they missed out.
Yeah, what's cool, being a matchmaker, you're allowed to be a fan, and I think I can tell that,
But I can't be biased at the time. Right. I can afterwards.
But you can totally enjoy it.
Fighters.
Yeah.
She is. She's the most humblest, hardworking people I know.
Yeah. I mean, perfect nickname, right? Warhorse.
Yeah.
Now she scares the crap out of me.
Good, you see good.
If I'm just being honest, if I was a fighter, right, and someone came to me and was like, "Hey, you're in line, what do you think about Christina Williams?" I'd be like, "Well, I mean, let's think about this for a second because, her striking is just rock solid."
Right.
And you say, she's one of the hardest working people. So what do you think it is about her that really makes? I mean, I think her striking is unique. It's fast, powerful, and accurate all at the same time, and it looks fluid. Like she looks slower than she is just because of how smooth it is, right?
Right.
So what do you think it really is that she has?
Different. Well, a lot of people perfect one art and they stop there. And they say, okay, I'm going to be a boxer. I'm going to be a kickboxer. I'm going to be a ground person. That's what I'm going to do. I'll do jiu-jitsu. But not Christina. She loves to stand and bang, and she's deadly, especially if you get within her leg range. If you can get some of her kicks, you're going to be messed up. But if you get her on the ground, she's just as lethal. Mm-hmm. So she is the most well-rounded females that I know. And I don't know if you saw the fight in New York last year. It was one of her first fights with Bellator. Mm-hmm. But she did a number on that girl.
Hardy? When she decimated Heather Hardy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And she also beat Emily Ducote, right?
Yeah, she beat Emily Ducote, and she's from Oklahoma also.
Yeah. I love Donut. She's a fun fighter. I'm glad that she's at strawweight now. I think strawweight's a better place for Emily.
Yeah, she's pretty short.
Yeah, she's a small flyweight for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Williams in Bellator. I think she's real close to getting that Alima.
Yeah.
I really feel that way.
It's fit too. Her and Bellator.
Oh yeah.
I matched a fight up in Ohio recently. That's where you're from, right? Ohio?
Yep.
I matched a fight recently with Jocelyn Edwards and Brenda Boom Boom Gonzalez from New Mexico. Nice. Somehow that fight card fell through, and King of the Cage came in and picked up that fight. And I got no rights to it or from it or anything.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's okay. It happens. Yeah. Happens sometimes. Flattered.
Yeah, so, back to Williams real quick. One of the things that makes her so lethal is those elbows.
Oh, yeah.
And how she can go from, she's a master at controlling distance, and how she can go from being in, jab range, cross range, to elbow range, and it's like, how did she get there? Is kind of, as a spectator, that kind of blows my mind.
Right. Yeah, she's good at that.
Yeah, she's fluid for sure.
People try to take her down, mm-hmm. and she's like, oh, okay, you want to do that? That's okay. I'll get on the ground too.
Yeah.
She
She never
kind of
looks uncomfortable.
ever.
Yeah, it's she's
And
cold.
she's so patient.
Yeah, she is ice cold. That's what scares me about her. It's like, she's ice cold, and I can't get over it. It just
Yeah.
kind of I mean, I would not want to look across the cage and see that because I mean, she's been rocked. Ducote did put up a great fight against her. She got
Yeah.
some good hits in, but you couldn't tell. I mean, you knew it was doing damage, but you just couldn't tell.
Yeah. Yeah, she never sweats.
Yeah, it's
She
crazy. It's
yeah,
crazy.
she's awesome. I couldn't say enough about her. But I mean, I've seen her. I think she took her first Muay Thai fight with me, and she probably had 3 or 4 under my fight cards.
Hmm.
So I mean, I kind of watched her progress. So I am a little partial. I'm biased on that one.
Yeah,
It's true.
she's doing really well with Genesis MMA
Hmm.
in that crew down there. So I think that's also a good fit. I mean, they got some killers there. So
Yeah, she does a lot with elite also. I mean, but
yes,
that's also what you have to do if you're an athlete. You can't think that you can learn everything that you need to know from one gym.
right.
My dad said you need to, jump around, go here, go there, and listen to everybody. Listen to everything that you can pick up on from these senseis.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean they're masters, right? I mean, and like you said, it's good to take all that you can. So what do you think separates a okay? Let me ask you this one first. So you watch a fighter as an amateur. At what point do you feel like okay, they're ready to go pro?
Well, I'm not a coach, so it's never really up to me. It would be up to the coach, individual fighter, because only the coach knows how hard that person works.
Right.
But as a promoter, I would say you need to have a nice fan base.
Mhm.
You need to be marketable, and you need to have either a winning record or something close to it. My dad is a coach, so he says you need to have 14 jiu-jitsu tournaments, and you need to be belted, and you need to take boxing, amateur boxing.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
that's
it's a
one of his.
grind.
Yeah, it's a grind.
It's a
And
grind.
there's no money in it until you go pro, and then who knows if there's money in it then?
Yeah. Well, because like you said, the big term is marketable, right? So you could be marketable and then, say, hey, you win your pro debut and then you drop 2 fights and all of a sudden you're nothing.
Right.
Even though you know what you're capable of and you went from being a hot commodity to nothing.
Well, and not just that. If you get a reputation for being a princess, someone that's hard to work with, someone who always comes in overweight, you know,
Yeah, that
I've
that
had
that's
to pull out all the green M&Ms. I'm like, are you? Some people they're just nightmares to work with. Are you kidding me?
my God.
I mean, my dad, my uncles were back in the UFC. My uncle cornered someone who was on UFC too. They had no weight classes. There wasn't,
Right.
just like in the tough man contest. We used to have those back in the day. We still have them here sometimes. But part of the nostalgia of the tough man contest was that they called your name, and wherever you were, you could be at the bar, you could be, here or there. They called your name. Okay, it's time to go bang. That's it. You didn't say, oh, so and so, he's 3 pounds over. It didn't care. It didn't matter.
Right.
You said you wanted to fight. Prove it. You kind of miss the old school days and people that showed a lot of heart. I'm not saying jump weight classes and take crazy fights, but there's a lot of nostalgia
No,
behind
I
that.
hear you. I hear you. That's an awesome and different perspective. That's what's cool about it because I feel the same way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to take up too much more of your time here, but what are some things that you're looking forward to in 2019? I mean, I know you're really pushing Muay Thai and wanting to grow it and get the U.S. in a position to where if it does happen, as an Olympic sport, this country could represent itself.
Well, that was my mission in 2018, and it's probably going to be on my list in 2019.
Hmm.
Until I figure if all the promoters can put on 5 or 6 fights a year, look how much experience our people are going to get. So, that's something I'm going to do in 2019. Right now, I have pro boxing scheduled for March 9th in Oklahoma. So that's what I'll be working on, and then April I'll come back here for MMA.
Okay. Cool. Well, just keep doing what you're doing. I love this conversation. It just, I like to, anybody and everybody who's associated with this stuff, I love talking to. So I really appreciate your time.
Thank you
This
for
was
having me.
great.
So, I hope I get to see the footage before
Oh,
it's
yeah.
released and hates me.
Is there anybody you want to thank or anything? Or
Oh man, there's so many people that I have to thank. I have like 4 or 5 friends that have been with me since the beginning. They don't even like MMA. Bridget and Daisy and Alyssa. They don't even like MMA, but they like me, so they go to all my fights. They're my biggest supporter. Michael and my kids and my mom and dad. So, and my sensei Pat.
that's awesome. Well, yeah, I will. So this will be on YouTube.
Okay.
Probably tomorrow, because we're going to be getting snowed in, so I will be getting a lot of this stuff done.
Oh, so tomorrow I'm gonna wear a GoPro backstage
You
just
told
for
me
no.
that.
Yeah, I have a podcast. It's MMA Pipeline. My friend and I do it together on Wednesdays, and we
Mhm.
release it once. So we're gonna have some people sign some footage, sign
Nice.
a waiver so that we can release some footage, and then people can see how crazy it is backstage. I once undressed a guy down to his cup and put it on the other guy,
There you go.
and all the people backstage are like, "Wow, you're really down for the cause."
Holy cow.
Oh my gosh, it was embarrassing.
That's awesome.
Got a lot
Well,
of numbers then, but
oh, I bet.
you know.
That's hilarious. Well,
Yeah.
thank you again. I really enjoyed talking with you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I will
And
let you know when it's up. And like I said, MMA crackhead's definitely becoming a thing. I will not stop until it does.
all right,
So,
let's make it happen.
heck yeah. All right. Well, have a great night and have fun with the GoPros.
And if you guys get feisty, you can watch Fight TV tomorrow for C3 fights.
Oh, there you go. Fight TV is awesome.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, you have a problem. If you like combat sports, you absolutely have
Okay.
to have that.
Phone. I can watch. I
Right.
watch it at work.
Yeah, it's so simple to stream that stuff too nowadays to your TV or
Right.
whatever. Yeah, okay, perfect. So that's tomorrow night. Fight TV.
Right.
Perfect.
February 12th.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Have
Yeah,
a good night.
you too. All right, that was Thyme Doonkeen, and we are going to come back Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a pretty special guest there. Really looking forward to that one. And nothing tomorrow, so I will be posting a lot of stuff to YouTube and getting a lot of the backlog stuff caught up. But that is it for tonight. We'll be back Sunday, and hope to see you then.